Shalom, and I welcome you all to the first lesson of my 300 series. It's going to be dealing with mainly symbolism and psychological effects of symbols that are around us in a various form of ways that may be subtle to the mind and subtle to the consciousness. However, they have a very profound effect on our thinking and our subconscious, which will eventually in turn start to dictate our actions and our thoughts. So with that in mind, by looking at the title, especially during the time of year that it is, any word of Christmas may bring the thought of a Christmas spirit, jolly good time, and things like that. And I want to let you know right now that if that's what you're looking for and that's what you expected in this lesson, I'm sorry, but that's not the direction we're going into. We're actually going into a different direction, one in which you may not approve of as those who follow the Christmas spirit, as I should say. And knowing me by now through my lessons and questions and comments and things of the sort, you will already know that anything dealing with the religions and anything dealing with separation and schism or schism, however you want to pronounce it, that's not me. So this is going to have a deeper meaning. This is going to have a meaning that's going to bring about a different understanding of what you may not understand about psychological ma'afa and how Christmas plays a part of it. And I'm not even going to get into the economic aspect and whatnot, because during this time of year, for some apparent reason, most of us as blacks in America, Khama'wao, as you want to pronounce, most of us spend a lot of money around Christmas time. And it's even to the point where your lenders and your banks and your lien holders and whatnot, they know this, so they even give you a break on your payments around Christmas time because they know you're going to blow all your money on the Christmas gifts and whatnot and the decorations. So they already know you, and they already know how to make a profit off of you. So maybe this right here can help share a different light on Christmas. Now, I'll first describe why the title is spelled the way the title is spelled. In the title, you can see the X, the plus, and the masses. And of course, you see times where Christmas is spelled with the X and the mass. And Christmas represents Christ and mass, which means a celebration of Christ. However, in this sense, that X in Christmas in the title represents Chris. That plus represents cross, and the masses should speak for itself, because the purpose of Christmas is to crisscross the masses. Crisscross means to confuse, means to jumble up. It means to form a chaotic state of being. And this is what Christmas does to the masses. And we're going to get into some of the imagery that causes the crissing and the crossing of the masses and the confusion of the masses. And I speak specifically here about blacks. However, you will have to notice that crisscross would mean that you have one element on one side and another element on another side that they have to have a different view in order to be crisscross. If not, it'll be called criss-criss or cross-cross. So we'll get into first the obvious. Christmas, again, is a Christian holiday. So therefore, even the word holiday comes from holy day, again, referencing to religion. So Christmas has the definition of Christ and Mass, celebration of Christ. Now, in the form of Christ that's being used, it is a European holiday. We all should have a basic understanding or understanding that the religion of Christianity has origins in Khama'at and the Nile Valley civilization as a whole. And over the years, of course, it had been perverted into the Roman beliefs and also into the Greek beliefs the Greek belief, because at a point in time in history, there was a struggle between the Greek Christian church and the Roman Catholic Church. They were struggling back and forth for the dominant power in Europe. And of course, when that struggle in Europe goes on, every surrounding nation and even the world feels that effect. So eventually the Christianity form of the Greeks, it won its power. But from that point in time, there was a time where the Roman Catholic Church had the power shifted toward it. And of course, you know, still stands today. You have the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican, and you have right now in the seat, Pope Benedict Arnold, as I call him, Benedict 16th, whatever his suffix is. Now, with that being said, when I speak about Christmas, we all know that there is the roots of Haru, Awasa, and Awasati, or who you may call Osar and Oset. But we're not going to talk about that in this lesson. That can be readily researched. What we're going to talk about is the European definition of Christmas, the European purpose of Christmas, and how it still affects us today. Now, we'll go down to the imagery first. Obviously, Santa Claus, Santa, Saint, is white. And being white, by modern definition, after perversion of language, white signifies purity. Now, before I continue that, there is something that I need to clear up, because it seems like every lesson in question brings up other questions that people have about me that I may not be clarifying properly. So I try to clarify them as I go. A lot of times people listen to what I say when I'm involving race in my lessons and questions and things that I'm trying to teach and my pedagogical approaches. People often take that as me being a racist toward whites. I'm not a racist toward whites. I have very many people that are white that come to me about questions, and they have it seems a sincere form of concern for the conditions of the world, even though they may not understand exactly what a black person goes through in this world, and they can't understand that. And I understand that myself. And according to the assertions of great authors and scholars such as Dr. Naeem Akbar and the great Dr. Amos Wilson, we need to have a mindset to not necessarily be against whites. You know, that kill whitey attitude is not the way to do it. But to realize that you can be indifferent toward their situation or their contribution to our situation. Malcolm X said the same thing. Now, when it comes to our situation, it is up to us to handle this situation on our own. Yes, the European is the reason why we're in the situation we're in. That's obvious. But we have to also look at the context of time frame. There is a momentum that has followed since the Ma'afa. But those people right now are not exactly the people that put us in the situation then in slavery. So regardless of what position a white person stands in, you can remain indifferent toward it. But I would advise that over hatred, but teach in a logical form that is going to raise your level of thinking as a black person and as a person that's actually stuck in this situation that we are in and only we can relate to. That's why, don't expend so much energy trying to raise the consciousness and change and alter the consciousness of another people, whether they be Asian or Indian or white, doesn't matter. Use that energy toward raising the consciousness of your people. And that's the direction that I try to get people to understand to take. So when I speak about race, I only speak about race because, as I said, yes, the European is the reason why we are in the condition we're in today. And pretty much they are in the condition. They are the reason that the world is in the condition that it's in right now. They have been the downfall of the world throughout history. And yes, I'm generalizing to a great extent right there, but look up history itself. History will tell you the European is the reason why the world is the way it is today. Okay? With the conquer first attitude, ask questions later. This is what their method has been. Now, with that in mind, I'll go back to the Santa Claus. Okay? Santa, again, obviously is white. Saint Claus. Saint is pure. Saint is godly. Saint, savior. Saint is everything heavenly. Saint is good. By that message being white, look up the definition of white. You will have pure. You will have the opposite or antithesis of unclean. The antithesis of evil. Light. So whenever you hear white, it always has a heavenly, a godly connotation to it. Santa Claus is white. His elves are white. His wife, of course, is white. Now, where does Santa Claus live? And I say this, please understand that I'm not speaking this in the literal sense. Again, we're going over symbolism here.